Hey everyone, I wanted to talk with you guys a little bit about an experience that I had this last week in terms of pulling credit and what happens when you apply for a mortgage and all of the million calls that come in. So I'm Stephanie Johnston here with the Johnston team at Service First Mortgage, and I played the role of a consumer this week. I had my mortgage or my credit report pulled for a mortgage, and I wanted to see what was going to happen. It was a very disturbing to my work day, a number of calls. So the first thing, as far as a lot of consumers think, is, well, why is this happening? So TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian unfortunately can sell your information when you pull credit, and they can do that for mortgage or any reason really, and sell your information to the highest bidder. To me, I feel like that's wrong. We have to use these credit bureaus to record and gather our information. And yet you can take that information and sell it to someone and have them spam call me without my permission. So number one, really wish that wasn't the case, and we are trying to stop that. We do have some information that we send out as far as how that can be stopped and how to get your name taken off these registries so this does not happen. But what I did was go ahead and determine, as far as the going through this process, I said, okay, let me answer the calls. Like, the first thing I said is, well, let's see what happens. And the number one thing that shocked me is not a single person that I answered the call, and I answered a lot of them, would identify themselves and give me their real contact information. So let me get this straight. You're calling me, you have my personal information, my social, my birth date, my address, all this, and you have my phone number and you're calling me, but you will not tell me who you are. I have an absolute issue with that. It feels spammy. It's not okay. Really, again, think the practice should stop, but that's a whole nother tangent of a video. And so I, again, was like, this is crazy. I had a guy lie to me about his name. His name was not Joe Smith with a made up license number. I had someone else tell me on the same call that they work for 3 different mortgage companies, like that they didn't realize that I heard them say a different mortgage company 5 minutes before that. And then I had people hang up when I asked for the license number. I had people hang up when I asked for their last name and where they worked for, and they did not want to give it to me. So again, should we have someone help us with their mortgage that cannot identify themselves, and I should just hand over all my personal information? No. Second piece that was concerning was number of complete deceiving practices that were happening from these lenders when I was just asking for a quote. So I had one person tell me that they had to pull my credit and all my information to get a single quote. 100% not the case. Lenders are required to give you a quote, whether you apply or not apply. They should give you a rate option and give you, all the disclosures of the costs associated with that loan. They did not. The next thing was the number of people that lied to me about what the rate was and the cost associated, which is the key thing on this loan. So I went along, pretended like to be Miss Consumer, and asked for a specific rate quote. So I gave credit score, loan amount, all the details, and said, okay, what's my rate? First off, they gave me a rate up front that was a range that I knew not going to be possible. Then I gave them my information. Of course it was higher, right? Still lower than where the market is, it said. And so I said, okay, that's with no points. Like, I specifically want a loan with no points. Again, fine to pay points, but I was just seeing if what they would quote me in terms of discount points. And so he says, absolutely no points, no discount points associated with this loan. I said, okay, great, sounds good. Let's go forward. What are your lender costs? Well, and he danced around it, did not want to answer the question. So he said, well, there's lender compensation or broker confrontation, of 2.75%. And for those of you guys that are not in the industry, what that means is that this person did not work for a direct lender. They continued to say, by the way, that brokers provide better interest rates than direct lenders. Complete false statement, not the case. A mortgage broker gets paid a fee on top of the rate, the wholesale rate, and that's what they make in compensation. So there's no savings when you go to a mortgage broker, by the way. Just want to completely dispel that right there. Of course, I know that, so I'm just talking through letting him go forward. And he was charging a 2.75% fee on this loan. So in the scenario that I had given him, I just made up a loan amount, and I said, I want a $700,000 loan. What's your rate? And so that would have been $19,000 in lender fees that he tried to insinuate was zero on the same call. So then I said, okay, well, I don't want to pay $19,000. can I have a rate that's higher, that broker compensation is paid in the rate, or what we call points, negative points offset it? And he said, yeah. And he gave me another rate, and he said, okay, well, that would be about par. Well, I said, no, like how much? I want an exact number. He pulls it, and it was actually 1.25%. I said, okay, so now it's $10,000 or whatever, closing cost it was at this point. And went through that, and I said, that's crazy talk that you now quoted me rate 3 times wrong on this call. So went through down this path, and then realized, I think by the end of the call, I finally said, I got to tell this guy I'm a loan officer. And then he hung up on me when I told him, well, I am a loan officer. I am really getting a mortgage, but you completely lied to me these different times, and that's not okay. So, not great. Then later in the day, I had another girl tell me that my lender sold my information to her, and that's how they put me on a distribution list. I said, so wait, so my own company that I work for, so right, I work here, I know what we do, sold my information to you. Okay, not the case, right? But she's trying to put doubt that me, the mortgage lender on the front end, would do something like that to my consumer. And I just thought that was crazy. Like, no way is that the case. Like, what are you thinking? Of course not. So anyways, the call goes on, and I can go on and on about this. Do reach out if y'all have more questions and want to kind of talk through everything that transpired during the day. But I think the biggest takeaways that I had are, the number of people that can basically pretended to be me, or pretended to be the lender that originally pulled, to pretend to be Service First. The number of people that would not even identify themselves, gave me false quotes. I have text after text of complete inaccurate information about the market, complete violations of their license, the whole 9 yards. And so I want to make sure, and also that we as a lender do not sell your information. The bureaus do. So if you are looking to get a home loan, again, let us help you on the front end, tell you how to prevent this from happening. We can absolutely do that, number one. Number two, if for whatever reason this happens and you've applied for a home loan, you're working with us, please know we did not sell your information. And number three, most importantly, is be very wary of what these people are saying. And if there's 90 phone calls, 70 phone calls in a day, and they're trying to get you to answer, they're giving you things that are just 100% just not even true to get your information and change it. And so I would just be really weary on talking to them or giving them information, in my personal opinion, just based on experience today on that. And that, as far as my main points. So I know this is a really long video today, guys, but it's a little something I'm a little more passionate about. I want to make sure that myself and my consumers are protected, that we don't give our information out to spammers, and that, again, people aren't lying to you about identity and their offerings that they're giving you just to try to get you to do a mortgage loan with them. It's not right. It's not ethical. Especially that some of these things that people are saying, if you're not in the industry, you wouldn't know some of these questions to ask. So anything in regarding to this topic, please reach out. Happy to help. Again, Stephanie Johnston here at the Johnston team of Service First Mortgage. Thank you.